Hello and welcome to the replay of the Round 3 AFL clash from Amy Stadium between Port Adelaide and the Sydney Swans. Port Adelaide has won its only home game so far this season. Cameron O'Shea will start as the sub, and Robbie Gray back into the lineup this week after some hamstring issues. Up against the Sydney Swans, Andreas Everett a big in along with Shane Mumford, and Jesse White back into the lineup, and Adam Goods equals the Sydney Swans games record playing game 303. Let's go to the action.
That man will be looking for a good start. Has had a slow start to the season, but he is an absolute superstar, as Lee Colbert was saying. 205 games on the trot. It's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all, Lynchy. Is it? 303 today equals the record. Has been spending a fair bit of time down forward as well in the first couple of rounds, which has an effect, obviously, on the amount of ball you can grab.
And the boys up here in the box know about games played. Brad Johnson, 364 of them. Alistair Lynch, 306 of them. 670 in total. And looking forward to getting this underway with them. Umpires, Matthew Nichols, Sam Hay, Troy Pennell. Mumford back into the Sydney Swans lineup after a sore back last week, and Redden with him with the reach. Knocks it down to the clearest specialist already. Kennedy's already got one to his name. Hartlett, half back. Players jump in. And we get another ball up.
As you said, Josh Kennedy's had a magnificent start to the season. I would have thought best on ground in the first two rounds, and he's a fantastic player. Obviously traded from Hawthorn, and just the start that you want as a player. Get your hand on the ball early.
Yeah, number one clearance player in the competition in 2011, Josh Kennedy, and the third favourite for the Brownlow already this season. Redden on hands and knees. He's got the big job against Mumford. Hannery tried to knock it out. Kasisi in the clinches.
Daniel Pearce has started on the bench. He's added a fair bit of run across half-back. Hartlett starting at half-back today, so that could be the first rotation, Lynchy, is Pearce onto half-back, with Hartlett moving up into the midfield.
Redden wins another knockdown. Gray back into Port Adelaide's lineup this week. Maybe a little rusty, couldn't get it away. Kasisi likewise. About 15 players around this ball. Finally, it comes out to Boat. Short pass, could have gone a little longer. Went for Stewart, missed him. McVeigh, touch play on. Goods shoots a handball up to Jetta, who has the dancing shoes on. And now Jack squeezes it to half forward. Bouncing ball, Rowan attacks it nicely, gives it up to McGlynn. He wants to come inboard. Poor delivery, and it doesn't come off. Surgeon buffeted out of it, goes back in hard. Hannebery throws it out. Kennedy from 50, he wants to centre it as well.
Yeah.
Bird, top of the square, not paid the mark. Hartlett gives it up.
Fantastic kick to a dangerous position, but there could be a way here, Port.
Chaplin squeezes the kick in Westhoff's direction, fumbles it away. You don't pay it to Bird down one end, you can't pay that to Westhoff, and he steals it back again. It was his ball. Stewart, Boat, heads out wider. Hartlett, Stewart again, almost a turnover. Mumford, big man gets down, caught by Corns, driven into the deck, and a push in the back free to Mumford.
Yeah, he worked that one very well, big Shane Mumford. Corns just a bit clumsy, just into the back, but it's been very much a contested game in this first few minutes, and this is what an aspect of the game this season Port Adelaide have been so good at, their contested ball and their clearance work.
Shaw wide, looking for O'Keefe. Carlisle right with him. Back tap was clever. Hartlett dumped, didn't have it. Free kick. Not a bad crowd in as well. Port Adelaide hoping to get something in the order of 25,000 here this afternoon, and the win in round one here against the Saints would have helped bring the fans back. New hope, new season.
Yeah, there's plenty of hope. There's no doubt about that after a disappointing year last year, but their first game against St Kilda here at Amy Stadium was fantastic, but it's been a long time, 2004, since they last beat Sydney here.
Yeah, it's amazing, really. Now, Sydney have made the finals in 8 of the last 9 years. They've had a good stretch of being one of the premiership contenders for a long time. Boak plays on quickly. He gets it to Schultz. He runs to 45, looks up, sees the options. It's his to kick, and he lands the first punch.
Well, it was good play by Boak. In the end, it looked like initially he needed to get a quick handball over the top, decided to take on his direct opponent and was able to get a smart kick over to Schultz in the end. You see Richards come off Schultz and a good kick, and Schultz running into an open goal. And it was pleasing by Boak because last week he went at 47% by foot, and himself and Hartlett are the two that need to lift their levels in terms of disposal efficiency. So a great start by him.
You're absolutely spot on there, Jono. He is intrinsic to their success. Jay Schultz now turns 27 years of age this week and is having an accurate year. Kennedy can't get the clearance this time. 7 goals, 2 for the year now for Jay Schultz, and perfect start for Port Adelaide. Mumford got both hands on it. Kennedy, clearance specialist, gets another one. Johnson back. McVeigh, he's running at about 80% with his delivery as well. This time a turnover, so that's uncharacteristic for him. Carlisle takes the mark, goes back to Trengove.
Beautifully done, Dwayne.
Yes.
Put the moz on him.
McCarthy calls for it long. He's outside of it, bounces, he can get and go. Jetta would run him down though. Wrong man to be taking on. Hands it up to Westhoff. Shoots it forward, wobbly ball, tough one to gather. Stewart did well, kept the contest alive. Broadbent collects. The lead comes from Gray, and he hits him. Spectacular pass and a good mark.
That was a fantastic pass to put out in front of Robbie Gray, who's come into the side. And Broadbent, just the composure to straighten up, get around onto the right boot rather than blazing away on the left. And that was a really nice lead. I think it was his second option. He went first, didn't know whether to continue on, but the second option in the end was a very good one and honoured.
Hamstring strain has kept him out so far this year. First game back, first kick back. Behind.
It was pleasing that McCarthy took on Jetta on centre wing. That's what opened it up for Port Adelaide. If he just goes back and tries to just do a quick handball backwards, they don't get the opportunity to push forward quickly.
Johnson went one-handed, a little untidy, has to mop up his own mess. Parker will be the mop man though. He gives it to Jetta, and Jetta is away. Burns them off in those dancing shoes. Another bounce. Looks at the goals. He bounces inside 50. This would be spectacular. And he misses.
Oh, he's missed it. That was a fantastic run. And the Port Adelaide opponent that was chasing him certainly looked like at one stage he was on a treadmill just trying. He wasn't closing the gap at all, but he's got a very quick set of wheels, very loud set of wheels, but great run.
And Port Adelaide defenders, one needs to come off his man at some point. Pick the time when he drops the ball to ground for a bounce. Come off, take the risk, and you might be able to put some better pressure on.
And you've got to congratulate Daniel Stewart. He was never going to catch him, but he never stopped chasing. Because you never know if a bounce doesn't bounce back to a guy. Broadbent.
Was it Pearce that dropped off, though?
I was trying to accentuate the positive.
Well, I think Stewart should be really proud of his chase. Spot on, Dwayne.
Broadbent to Trengove. Handball, a looping ball. It heads wide to Jacobs. Chaplin. Not a lot to go to. Back to Carlisle, his brother in crime. And now Broadbent down the middle. Takes them on, and they're taking the game on. Pearce. Poor handball. And Surgeon makes it look good. And he takes on Adam Goods. Runs away from Goods. Drives it long from 50. Awesome.
Really encouraging sign for Port Adelaide. They're prepared to put the ball under their arm and actually take on the tackler. And we saw on this occasion they've got a wave of players, bit of a fumble there, but they've got a wave of players coming through the middle of the ground. And on that occasion, it was Surgeon that put the ball under his arm and took on Adam Goods and got away. And that's like turning the clock back 10 years ago when Port Adelaide were really cutting teams to pieces through the midfield and kicking long goals. Fantastic start, up by 2 goals.
And a celebration to match 2.
Yeah.
Gets the excitement up for the players around him, gets certainly the crowd into the game.
He is a leader, part of the leadership group, Jacob Surgeon, but not just by name, by trade as well. Good leader of the club. Set a great example there. And Port Adelaide have the first 2 goals of the afternoon. Just 8 games last year for Jacob Surgeon. Arguably the worst season of his career, but he started 2012 well.
Well, they need guys like Surgeon and Boak to have big years, and then the inclusion of Ebert just through that midfield rotation.
Kennedy 60-metre kick. Half forward, Trengo beaten by Rowan, who couldn't quite complete the deal. Trengo's over it, shuffles it out just in time, and then knocks it out. Chaplin through some traffic, and they're taking the game on still. Jacobs to Trengo. Handball not so good. Parker put his own teammate under immense pressure. Moucheski bangs it long in hope. Rowan down there, and Trengo have got another back fist in this time. Pearce realises that the numbers are against him, and that's a win.
That's fantastic reach from Jackson Trengove, and he's a big man, very athletic, and just to get that fist in at the last minute on Gary Rowan was a critical spoil.
The crowd have found voice as well. Thump down to Parker, picks it in the pocket. Kennedy, White back into the team this week. Jesse White, just the required 15. Well, the crowd don't necessarily agree with umpire Sam Hay.
Young Redden just got caught watching the ball out of that stoppage. Jesse White followed it out of the throw-in and was able to get in a dangerous position to take an uncontested mark.
His career at the crossroads somewhat as well. Jesse White, and that is through. He sneaks it in, and the Swans get there first.
Yeah, Jesse White certainly needed that one, coming back into the side, and he's been in and out over the last 18 months and needed to make the most of that opportunity. He's got a chance up in the forward line and found a bit of space. He was, I don't know where his direct opponent was, but he was certainly all over the place, and there's no doubt his direct opponent would be disappointed, not half as disappointed as Matty Primus was. And that's one of the things that kill you. If you have an opposition player marking the ball by himself in the forward 50, it's going to be hard to win. Jesse White, he's a mountain of a man and has been spread between centre forward and early stages down the back line for the Sydney Swans. Really needs to stake a claim for a full-time spot.
Parker hands it to Goods, takes on Kane Corns, pumps it to the goal square, getting back, and a good grab, top of the square by Bird, playing it full forward.
Well, how good was that from Adam Goods? Burst out of the centre, 3 bounces, but then the kick was the most important aspect of it all, but to hook it back 50 metres across his body at full tilt to the advantage of his teammate was outstanding.
And we saw in the vision there, as he has a shot.
2 and 20 seconds to the Swans.
We saw the good work of Bird off the ball. The fact that he doubled back towards the goal square to take that mark. He's a big jump from Redden, but Matty Primus, who is a very good ruckman himself, just really disappointed about that effort, which set up the goal and set up the really soft clearance for Adam Goods. But good work from Bird at the goal square, and looks like the Swans are happy now to just put the likes of Gary Rowan and Bird at the top of the goal square and go one-on-one.
Scores all tied up at 13 apiece, and we'll show you a lot of that during the course of the game. The coach's box cam giving insight as to what's happening in there. More cameras than ever before covering the game in 2012 for you. Kennedy hands it up to Parker, and he takes off again to the top of the square, over White's head though. Bounces kindly for White. The man Mountain takes on Chaplin. Kick with the outside of the boot might work. It's been marked again by Bird.
Well, Lynchy, how good is Parker going in the middle of the ground? Mumford is certainly getting first use to the Swans midfielders, but he's been involved in the last 4 centre clearances.
Yeah, it's pretty good. He's had 6 disposals going at 100%. So to complement Kennedy, who we know is a very good clearance and stoppage player, Parker's put his hand up as well.
45 directly out. Goal umpire does not move. The Swans in front for the first time today.
And as we've seen, the game has been won or lost in this centre stoppage, centre clearance situation. Really good smother on that occasion. It just came in, and that was Parker who smothered the ball to start with. Second effort to get on the end of it, got the handball received, then put the ball to a dangerous position. And some good work from Jesse White to, one, take possession, and I don't know whether he meant that, but he got it to his teammate and did very well, and they really responded after a quiet first 5 minutes.
Lee Colbert downstairs.
Daniel Pearce has been given the job on Craig Bird and kicked 2 goals in this first quarter. He's under the pump. Matty Primus wants more effort from him, a little bit more consistency and a lot more accountability.
Goods hacks it out of the middle, but Surgeon takes the saving mark. Trengove in some space. Needs to hit the target. It's Boak. He can go. He's got short options, but he wants the longer one. Schultz dives. Can't take the mark. Richards was right with him. McVeigh shoots it back to Grundy. SA boy back home. A Norwood boy heads wide to McGlynn.
Excellent combination now, Grundy and Richards, and you can throw Alex Johnson in as the third defender that are really standing up for the Swans.
Kennedy to Reid, who's up. Can't bring it down. Almost gets his own crumb. Chaplin fought on well. Gray dives in, dived on. Now he's over it. Was in trouble for a second. Ball comes clear. Hanbury. Short pass McGlynn. Went for Mumford, missed him. Redden, here's his chance. Needs to make them count when he gets them. To Boak. Heads too wide for Ebert. Contest with Malcheski though. And Ebert wins. They might have to go and get it themselves. Rolls toward the line. And we'll get a ball in.
And that's a fair call. You would hope to see that called for deliberate. But, yeah, good contest. But Colby made a really good point with Daniel Pearce. He gives great drive off half-back, but oppositions are focusing on him because his defensive pressures are perceived not to be right up there.
Almost wanting to take him to full back, essentially. Kasisi inside 50 to Westhoff. Thomas attacks that contest hard but lost it. Malcheski, good game to watch at the moment. Richards, Hanbury, he pumps it to half forward. O'Keefe, Trengove, whose glove's been winning out at the moment. Hartlett, look away handball, didn't quite work. Parker feeds it back. Hanbury dances his way past some traffic. Straight through Stewart. Parker gets it back. No one's in the square, and that caused the delay ball.
Great chase. Fantastic chase in that occasion. Parker really took off, but just closing speed from Stewart again.
Paul Stewart heads to Troy Chaplin. Thomas is going to have to get the skates on to get this. Hanbury comes with him, corrals him rather than come at him initially. Gets him. It's a legal handball as he was tackled and finally gets a kick to half forward. Ebert can't mark. Off hands. McCarthy ran into him and he's down, Ebert, and he looks a little hurt. Ball back to McCarthy. Ebert still isn't up. Schultz looks up. He's got Broadbent having some sort of first term. Broadbent. And he deserved that. Port Adelaide get their third.
Yeah, good work from Port Adelaide, but Brad Ebert certainly still down in the hands of the trainers. Just see the tack on the ball from the 2 Port Adelaide players, and Ebert's the one that's come off a little worse for wear on that occasion, and a bit slow getting up was McCarthy, the other young recruits, other new player from the West Coast Eagles, but they're finishing off their work very well when they're going inside 50. Port Adelaide inside 50s are 8-6 in the favour of the Sydney Swans.
Plenty of upside for the Swans with Jack Rowan, Reid, Shaw and O'Keefe, all with just one possession in the first quarter so far.
All square again. Jesse White into Redden. He's got his palm on it, down to Broadbent, the goal scorer. Ebert, who's up and looking a little better, shuffles that out. Corns, Redden, Broadbent again. Slung but got the kick away to McCarthy, the man who knocked him down. The ex-Magpie turns back. Schultz, hands on it, just couldn't quite bring it down. Dives in, great commitment, and lays a tackle on Richards, who handed that to Matner, to Hanbury. Parker, back to Matner. Hartlett locks arms and holds off his man, and that allows Paul Stewart to take the mark.
Last passage of play, Schultz comes out the contest, dangerous kick, comes off, now they're away Port Adelaide. Pearce had the chance to go front and square. We talk about him a fair bit, but I think it's the fact he needs to get maybe a tape of an Andrew McLeod-like type player just to learn from.
Broadbent plays on quickly. Westhoff's got 3 to beat, couldn't beat them all. McVeigh.
Wasn't a good choice of pass in the end. Westhoff had made the space, but was there a little early before the kicker had a chance to get back off the mark.
Jetta to McVeigh, but Port Adelaide at least took the risk to take the game on and cross it to the open side. nearly paid a dividend. McVeigh.
Good lead.
Reid. McGlynn, who likes playing here, has got a 5-goal game to his name here at Amy Stadium, Ben McGlynn. Top of the square. Rowan's down there, 3 to beat off hands. McVeigh gives it to Bolton, got it on the boot, and puts Sydney back in front.
Well, they worked that well. The Swans, McVeigh had the ball across half-back, really held onto it as long as he could, waited for someone to present up, and that came from Sam Reid, who was then able to offload another deep kick-in contest, and the Swans, great strength by Bolton getting tackled, still able to get foot to ball and finished with a very nice goal.
There's Bolton just really quiet at the one disposal so far, so a tough start for him. Johnny Longmire, yep, a few concerns.
From the flick down, it's Daniel Stewart to Boak. Johnson and Westhoff. Westhoff won, but then lost. Fell over. Johnson from half-back to wide ball to Goods. Well, it was there for the taking for Adam Goods. Not sure what happened there.
He's just lost that one. Yeah, not sure. Adam Goods just struggled to pick that one up. Maybe floated in the breeze a little bit.
You can cut a 2-time Brownlow medalist a little bit of slack sometimes, but a first gamer does that. You have a question mark on them.
The icy poles going on the interchange bench for Port Adelaide there. Just a bit of fluid and a few carbohydrates getting into the system. And here's the try. That's not even close to a handball.
And 50 here, and 50. So a chance for the Swans to have the biggest lead of the game.
And when the first quarter's been so tight, it's just criminal to give away those cheap goals or opportunities that generate a shot on goal.
Luke Parker started on the bench. It's the 13-game debut season last year, but at 19 years of age, looks like he might be around for a while. Misses, hits the post.
If he keeps up this rate, he'll be winning club champions for a long time. He's had the 9 disposals, 7 of those have been contested, so he's got off to a flyer, Luke Parker.
Paul Stewart, Troy Chaplin, Jackson Trengove. Heads long towards Westhoff. And we get a ball in with 6 minutes left on the clock in this opening term.
They really set up wide then, Port Adelaide. They were looking to bring the ball around the boundary line. It has been a trend over the first couple of rounds. They want to stay close to the boundary line.
Mumford front spot. Daniel Stewart palms it down to Parker. Another possession, and Kennedy another clearance. Too wide though. It won't be an effective clearance. It'll be Hamish Hartlett's ball.
Port Adelaide need to start working off Mumford now totally. Get Redden to make that contest, but he's winning all the taps and they're going to Parker and they're going to Kennedy.
I want to see how they get this ball. Actually, the young fella's been sent out there. And it's a cheer. He's done well. He deserves to get one of those after doing that.
Wipes a little bit of water from it. Time in the forward half.
Yeah, and obviously it's been dominated by the Sydney Swans 65-35, so that is a massive domination at this stage of the game.
Trengove to McCarthy. Handball wasn't really on, but McCarthy caught for it and Trengove trusted he must have been free. Turnover. Adam Goods.
Good chase by Rowan out of the forward line.
Heads a little wide. Rowan takes the mark.
And then gets rewarded.
Yep.
Good chase out. Just got a hand on the hips of his opponent, put the kick off, and then was able to get back behind the players and take an uncontested mark after a good kick from Adam Goods.
Their pick 6 from a couple of years ago, Gary Rowan. Knee injury last year, early. Wrecked his year. That one drifts across the face and it's out of play on the full, which kind of tells you he's kicking it against the breeze in this opening term.
And it wasn't a great kick from Gary Rowan, but he certainly is an exciting talent, and he seemed to have grown about 5 or 6 centimetres over the summer. He looks like he's that 6'3" now rather than probably the 6'1" that he entered the AFL as.
Can you keep growing at the age of 20?
I don't know, it depends what they're feeding you, I suppose. But he looks like he's grown. I mean, he was marked up by Jackson Trengove there at one stage. He must be 6'5", and wasn't giving away an enormous amount of height.
McCarthy went for a run, and there was a dead end. Daniel Pearce cuts that off. Carlisle, Broadbent. Oh, he handballed over Pearce's head. This kick important. It's wide, and on the line it's marked by Paul Stewart.
Just getting a little bit sloppy with a bit of fatigue towards the end of this first quarter, Port Adelaide, especially by hand.
Certainly hugging the boundary line around the boundary line. You want to stay close so you don't get hurt on the rebound, but they probably still have been hurt with turnovers.
Boos as Cassisi goes back instead of going forward.
Well, they can certainly come right out this side now.
Trengove.
Touch that.
Needs this to bounce. Broadbent hands it up to Hartlett. They've stopped booing now, Port fans. They've realised it worked. Short. Chaplin a long way forward. Swans are getting numbers back. Short pass to Thomas.
That was well worked. As you said, Dwayne, they were just dropping big numbers back.
Robbie Gray spent that before he'd earned it. Takes on McGlynn, wins, lines them up, tough kick. Smothered across the line. And we'll get a ball in. He does look a little rusty in his first game back, Robbie Gray.
Well, he stopped and had a look for the umpire for the free kick. Yeah. And you ever watch this? He ducks the tackle and probably cops one a little high, but now stops here, has a look inside.
No
and
free kick.
Gave himself no time to get rid of it.
Redden gave it to him and he slipped that time. Redden back to Hartlett. Finds a gap, wobbles it to the pocket. Sydney Swans undefeated, hoping to make it 3 from 3.
Here it is again, Robbie Gray. Now, you see the high tackle. Now, he stops here, looks inboard to the umpire, thinking, well, I'm going to get a free kick, but didn't. And a good smother.
Umpire penalised him for not holding an easy mark.
Yeah,
Redden.
That's probably right.
And Hanbury, well, he can't get that for too high if Robbie Gray didn't get his, so it's all square. We'll get a ball up. 3 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, just see the Swans players. I think it's Grundy dropping off the back of the pack here. So Port have to go into the corridor or defensively to find a spare player.
Bird squeezed one out. Corns outside his range. Hartlett maybe just within his range. With the breeze, it bends back, but doesn't bend back quickly enough.
And that's exactly what they did. It was just really important they had the awareness and talk around that stoppage, not to knock it forward, because Grundy was just setting up the wall in the goal square for the Swans, and he does that really well along with Ted Richards. And so well worked from Port Adelaide, just probably had the shot from a bit far out.
And Port defenders going one-on-one, not setting up the traditional zone that we're accustomed to over the last 2 years of footy.
Reid, front spot, couldn't take the mark. It's open forward if the Swans can get it forward. Parker shoots it back to Jack, who started it all. Slaps it down to Hanbury, shrugs a tackle. Back to Jack. Good hassling by Robbie Gray. Kane Corns. Port Adelaide have 3 men on the overlap. Chaplin needs to look up. Short, Thomas. Good hands. Open forward line now. Westhoff and Schultz down there. Trengove.
Great switch. Now they're away.
Broadbent. Bounced unkindly for him, Grundy, and a push away.
It was a terrible kick.
Oh, big collision, Ebert and Mumford, and Ebert's hurt again. He may have popped the rib, he looks done.
Mumford's not showing it, but he saw...
Oh, Ebert's even saw it, I think. Ball bounces inside 50, Jetta attacked it better than everybody, swoops, and goals. And he kicks it into the lake.
Well, it did. It hit the top of the roof. Pretty much it has gone into the lake. It was fantastic. Here's the big hit. And we just see the knee of Mumford just into Ebert, and that will take the wind out of you at the very least. So he's going to be quite sore there for a bit of time. Now, this is the pressure, or perceived pressure to start with, when you've got someone with the pace of Jetta, just comes up behind, and a bad mistake just for Jacobs to go to ground. And he tees this one up with those very flashy wheels. Big torp. And there it goes.
How good was that?
So it just hit the roof. That's lucky because the Dragon boat races out there on the lake would have got one giant surprise.
Absolutely. That was fantastic. Good pressure, good speed from Jetta.
From the ball up. Enjoyable contest to watch. Swans have struck a rich vein of form suddenly. Bolton back inside 50, slapped down. Chaplin hands it up to Westhoff. 12-point margin, equal biggest margin of the game. Corns calls for calm.
At this stage, I think you're spot on, Dwayne. I think the experienced players just probably got to shut down the quarter, try to control the tempo of the game. Just the Sydney Swans are just running over the top of them at the moment.
Ebert hugs the boundary. Johnson slaps it down. Kasisi did well. Schultz to Pearce. And a little too wide for the bouncing ball Wingard. He takes them on and a bounce kindly, and he still has the shot, but he misses.
One of his teammates, young McCarthy, the new kid, just got the arms out. What about me at the top of the goal square with a little handball?
56 seconds from quarter time. Reece Shaw. Kennedy. Back to Shaw. Parker again, danger. Trengove got a finger to it. McGlynn didn't really have it. Kasisi had him. Now they've got him too high. Don Kasisi's ball. Port Adelaide might get one last roll of the dice here. No, they won't.
I think Port Adelaide supporters then were hoping that was a call for a 50-metre penalty. The umpire's just calling back into the middle of the ground to reset the mark. Just one last roll of the dice before quarter time.
Don Kasisi loves it in tight. He's been a great captain, even though he's underrated in some respects. Second best tackle per game percentage in the AFL in 2011. So his defence is superb. Paul Stewart, that wasn't good. 23 seconds left, needed to pump that in long. Everyone was expecting it to go long, and now the Swans get a chance. Hanbury to McGlynn. Kasisi has to try and shut him down. Holds him up. We're down to 10 seconds. A mark chance inside 50. Reid goes up. Held it a long time, not paid it. Trengove got it from Corns. Heads it to the wing, and that might just about do us. Good grab by Parker.
He's had a big quarter.
That would have been possession number 14 in the opening term for Luke Parker, but the mark was just after the siren. Quality first term. Sydney by 11. 5-2-32 to 3-3-21. Handball. And Surgeon makes it look good. And he takes on Adam Goods. Runs away from Goods. Awesome. Rowan's down there. Free to beat off hands. McVeigh gives it to Bolton. Got it on the boot. And puts Sydney back in front. Jeddah attacked it better than everybody. Swoops and goals. Let's head down to Lee Colbert, and he is with the Port Adelaide coach, Matthew Primus.
Matty, pretty vocal, of course. There were some positive things, but the scoreboard shows tackles were well down.
Yeah, look, our inside stuff was disappointing, and we allowed Kennedy and Goods and Parker to get a bit of it. I mean, they were just outstripping us or going through our tackles, so have to try and fix up that and fix up a couple of our inside 50s. But apart from that, there was some good stuff there.
And your message now for the second quarter?
Oh, look, we've got to get better at the contested stuff, and our uncontested stuff and our width is pretty good, but we've got to get better inside against Kennedy and their on-ballers.
I suspect some frustrated forwards, mate, but get the ball in long to them and give them a chance.
Yeah, you've got to. Swans get numbers back, so give them a long, make it a contest and see if we can hold the ball in there for a bit of time.
All the best, big fella.
Lee Colbert with some Port Adelaide royalty. Matty Primus, the captain in the premiership year, but not the man who lifted the cup on grand final day. Kennedy and Kasisi side by side. Second term about to start. Redden and Mumford to do the ruck work. Swans by 11. Redden gets a palm to it. Jack slung. Pearce rolls it to half forward. Gray. Good collect. Wasn't collected. Grabbed the ball. Short pass. Schultz. Couldn't take the mark. Richards right with him. A fantastic defender now, Teddy Richards. Good run down tackle on Hanbury, and holding the ball the reward.
Robbie Gray again, Dwayne. Kicked the ball inside 50.
Might have a go at this. And he is still a little rusty.
That's probably why he wanted to rush it just to take the pressure off a little bit, but that's what they need, the real defensive pressure from their forwards. Not only just mark and kick goals, but make sure you hold it in.
Matner to Grundy, who runs off half-back beautifully. Loose man on the overlap is Bird. He now has Reid. Pass needs to be good. It is good.
One area Matty Promise did indicate with Colby was tackles. They had 8 in the first quarter, already 3 so far in the first minute of play in the second quarter.
Well done, Trengove. Hands on the ball, knocked it down to Carlisle. McCarthy, he missed Ebert. Lays a splendid tackle though, holds the ball in. Leads for a free and he gets it. Not sure how he was supposed to dispose of it there, but he was laying on it and maybe needed to throw a fist at it somehow. Did Bird, to at least show that he was making an attempt. Boak. Wingard. Subbed out last week with an injured eye. Good to see that he recovered well enough to play this afternoon. Chad Wingard, and Broadbent marks on 50.
They might need to go one more before they can shoot a goal.
Sits it up. Westhoff held off a little. Forced to go the fierce. Hanbury caught by Corns. Dishes it up. Schultz out to Westhoff. Fumbled it. Cassisi went back to Corns. Bounced unkindly for him. Hanbury to Richards under some pressure. Robbie Gray might win a free. He was jumped on. Crowd wanted it. Don't get it. Tucked up against the line. Grundy taken over.
Great stuff, Port Adelaide. Robbie Gray has set the tone in this start of this second quarter. We'll see here again. Just works underneath.
That's a
very unlucky. That's in the back.
It was well called, Dwayne. He did. He got there first and got the push in the back, but not paid.
A roller outside 50. Goods and Surgeon. And that's the evener upper. That's the one that Robbie Gray should have got. Jacob Surgeon, who nearly needed one there, gets the free.
Yeah, and that's really something we're seeing sneak into Adam Goods' play, where he goes in knees first.
Top of the square, Schultz again can't get the jump at it, and safe hands.
There was one in the pre-season, wasn't there, where he went in with the feet?
Yeah. McVeigh, dangerous. Paul Stewart, Hanbury right with him, and Paul Stewart gets a free. Hanbury just reached over the top to try and grab the ball, and Stewart's head was in the way. It wasn't intentional.
Got to convert this opportunity. They've had the ball in their forward 50 for much of this first 2.5 minutes of the quarter. They just need to get reward for effort.
As you can see, 47 career games for Paul Stewart. He was a relatively early pick for Port. Pick 23 back in 06. This is his 6th season on the list. And starts at left and never really was a chance. Both teams have had their turns at having 2-goal leads. Port Adelaide early in the game, and then the Swans late in that opening term.
Going back to the more traditional zone now for defending the kick-ins, Port Adelaide.
Matner to himself. Now long. Surgeon might go again here. Rowan goes with the fist, slaps it out of play, although it just rolls unkindly to force everybody to run full pelt to get it just in case it doesn't go out, and then trickles out. Jacob Surgeon barking some instructions. Mumford and Redden. Kennedy again. Parker again. Jack. Hanbury. Sits it up for Adam Goods. Carlisle in the contest. Hartlett roved it beautifully. Corns, a little 1-2. And then the Shepherd. Trengove. Don't argue on Reed. Gets away with it. And they're continuing to take the game on, Port Adelaide. Corns. Chaplin. Carlisle. Stewart. Back to Carlisle. Jetta runs him down, but it works. Stewart again. Thomas. Runs into a tackle, knocked on by Paul Stewart. Pearce can't make something of it, but at least he ties it up on the outer side. And in bright sunshine, we'll get a ball up. 23 plays 32. Swans by 9.
Real congested start to this quarter, and plenty of players around the stoppage.
Mumford down to Parker again. That's possession number 16. Good clash. Both teams of players committed. Surgeon to Trengove. Falls on it, needs to get it out. Does just in time. Shaw going nowhere. Gang tackled by the tackle specialist Dominic Cassisi. And another ball up.
All right, Dwayne, let's have a look here. Parker sitting at the back of the contest. We'll see which Port Adelaide player wants to go within a couple of metres of him at a stoppage?
Well, no one.
No
really.
one.
Well, Pearce is next to him, but Shaw goes with Pearce.
And he gets it again, Parker. Hanbury to Parker. Pearce didn't really work hard enough to shut him down. Shaw inside 50. Bolton backs back. McGlynn stolen by Chaplin, wrapped up by Bolton. No prior opportunity. Got it out. Kennedy caught by Thomas. Got it out. O'Keefe played for the free. Didn't get it. Hard, tough contest at the moment. 7th on the ladder last year, the Sydney Swans with 12.5 wins. Port Adelaide finishing 16th with 3 wins. So much can change over a summer. Mumford, the knockdown. Cassisi, Corns, Carlisle. Paul Stewart. Wide, in fact it's Daniel Stewart. Wide, takes the mark. Good grab.
Good hands under a lot of pressure. Needed to stand strong in the contest and certainly did. Just hadn't got too many options forward.
Hands a little wider. Schultz. Hands to it. Couldn't mark it. Ebert through some legs. Pearce. Backtracks. Onto the left. Westhoff a couple to beat and he was held off. Westhoff. He gets a free. And 50 surely. White's kicked that after.
There he is. He's playing the 50, is he? Yep. Here's the 50. Here's the holding free kick. And this is a bad mistake, again, from Jesse White to kick the ball away and make a certain goal.
And he ticks the box. It's a 3-point game.
Well, they peppered the goals, Lynchy, Port Adelaide, at the start of this quarter, and they get just reward. They've had, if you have a look at inside 50s, 4-1 so far, so they get the reward they need. But the challenge comes from this point on. First quarter, first 5 minutes, and we see the kick away here from Jesse White, which caused the 50-metre penalty to Westhoff. It's that first 5 minutes they started well, then they slowly dropped off as the quarter went on. It's from this point on they really need to dig deep as a group and continue that pressure on the Swans.
A great start for this quarter for the Port Adelaide side. Their attack on the ball has been really good. The ability to keep the ball in the forward 50 when they get it there is certainly equally as good.
White in the ruck against Redden. Bolton wins a free in trademark Jude Bolton style. Kennedy. Lead comes from Reid. Tough ball to get to. Almost gets there on the bounce. Carlisle got there first. Reid doesn't go to ground. O'Keefe. And again, just the little defensive things like Hartlett's smother across the boundary line there. They all add up.
The message is getting through, Dwayne. At quarter time, geez, I was impressed with Matty Primus and the way he talked to his charges. Ben McGlynn for the Swans has just limped off and gone up the race with a leg complaint.
Ball back into play. Cassisi caught by White. Thomas stripped of it. McVeigh wobbles a kick inside 50. Bounced unkindly for Trengove. Got away from Goods, who fights on, and Trengove gets it back again. Broadbent rolls straight past him. Malcheski gathers. Shrugs Stewart. Hands it off to Rowan. Bangs it to full forward. Jetta's down there, bouncing ball. Hardlett just takes it through on the line.
Well, lucky there because Chaplin couldn't see it and stayed at the eyes and let it bounce.
Now that's a free kick he played on quickly from full back there and got away with it.
Oh, he's done it again.
Same thing. And Surgeon stripped of it, and that could have been ball. Swans unlucky here. They might still get a goal regardless. Adam Goods had a hand in all 3 of those efforts and deserved that goal.
Well, from a defensive point of view, you'd be shattered from Port Adelaide. I mean, have a look at the little play on here. And it wasn't a real good kick to himself. And Adam Goods wrapped him up with a quick tackle. But plays on again. There's another tackle. Probably want to realise that he's got a bit of pace, Adam Goods. And then here, the turnover, the fumble. Great defensive pressure from the Sydney Swans forward. And Adam Goods only needs half a chance and goes straight through the middle with a nice goal. Just takes the sting out of Port Adelaide. Very controlled in the end by Matty Primus, would have thought. Yes. I think it was bubbling under the skin.
We would have just seen the doctor at half-time if his fist had gone to that desk.
Really disappointed.
Margin back to 10 points. Daniel Stewart knocks it down. Jude gathers it and gives it. Kennedy to half forward. O'Keefe gets away from Jacobs. High inside 50. Mumford down there. Knocked away from him by Paul Stewart. Flick up from Reid. Rowan had some traffic to get through. Bird shoots it to Jude Bolton. Mumford. On him, Cassisi. O'Keefe to Jeddah. Little fumble initially. Kennedy run down from behind. Slips it back to Reid. Toward Bird. Slapped out by Carlisle. Stewart. Gray. A bounce pass to Corns. Jeddah tries to run him down. Gray almost stripped of it. To Boak. Sidestep clever. Now Pearce, who'd want the left. Had to get the handball up. McCarthy. Boak. Knocked on. Johnson should get there first. In fact, Shepherd's for Richards, who was coming the right way. Johnson was running away from goal. Shaw. Richards. Malcheski. Another unkind bounce. But still had time and space somehow. Pumps it along. Adam Goods. He's caught out of position. A couple of Port Adelaide defenders with him, and that's a win for Adam Goods.
It is. Just to get the ball over the line, now they can set up. And Port Adelaide got numbers back there now, so the clearance would have been fairly easy for them. But now the Swans will set up. They're very good at this situation.
Mumford. Well, he took it out of the air. Interesting decision, that.
Still got a tackle on,
You do have to tackle him. Even if you take the ball away from him, that's not holding the ball, surely. He was dudded there, Adam Goods. McCarthy wide. It'll be coming back anyway. Sorry, Mumford was dudded.
Yep, we'll switch this up here.
Richards to the middle. McVeigh. Shaw. O'Keefe. A little spill. Caught by Jacobs. Wrapped up. Splendid tackle. Stewart to Hartlett. Westhoff.
Want a little bit of patience now. Grundy's at the end of this kick, 50 metres away by himself, just waiting for a Port player to come over as the bailout kick.
Made it tough for Paul Stewart. Gets it back again and floats it over the head of Robbie Gray. Good contest. Didn't give the free away. Grundy. Well, Parker spent that before he'd earned it and jumped on high.
Well, he's going that well, Parker. He's even making mistakes and getting the free kick. So really good effort there to come up with possession number 18.
Shaw. Malcheski. White the target. Up early. Got a foot in Carlisle's back. Daniel Stewart caught high. Play on advantage. Carlisle back to Daniel Stewart. Schultz needs to go. Johnson gets the fist on it. Parker, Crum, back to Johnson. Swans have all the answers at the moment. To half forward, Cassisi, hands on it, slips through. Hanbury to White from 50. Kicks long, the breeze works it back beautifully. Biggest lead of the game to either team, 16 points.
Well, that's what you need to do as a big forward when you get your opportunity. Certainly make the most of it. And White's got 2 goals now. He hasn't had a lot of the ball, but
had to make up for the 50 he gave away before.
Absolutely, cost them a goal, but that is a really nice goal. And with the wind, this quarter is the Sydney Swans, and White slotted one. So some congested, sloppy work through the middle of the ground. So they needed that goal, and certainly the trend of the first 5 minutes of this quarter has been reversed, and Sydney certainly dominating possession.
High-scoring contest, played in perfect, if not hot conditions. Boak and the ball up, runs into Thomas. Jude Bolton threads a handball through to Hanbury. Mumford, Bird, getting back Hartlett. That's a good grab.
That was a really good mark on Reid as well.
Made it tough for Pearce, but he was good enough. That kick not good enough. Parker. Did we tell you that's position number 20? Hanbury.
Halfway through the second quarter. Going on nicely.
Richards in the purple boots this afternoon. And the Swans in a purple patch. 16 points in front. Hanbury. Back to Richards. Grundy. Jack.
Well, Parker's career high is 25 in a game. So he's nearly there already in the first half of footy.
I can't see him being subbed out now. Reed, front spot. Again, the sun a problem for those players leaping. Tringove almost missed his fist with the ball there. Got away with it. Broadbent to Ebert. Terrible kick. Malcheski keeps it low. And Goods calls Reed out. Seniority.
Absolutely. The 300-game superstar. And Brownlow medalist said, that's mine.
You would have called him back, Lynchy.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Depending how many kicks I'd had in the lead-up. If I was going all right, I might call him back. But if it was a quiet one, give it to me.
The equal games record holder now, Adam Goods, 303 games for the Sydney Swans. Joins Michael O'Loughlin. Pushed the margin beyond 20 points for the first time in the game, and he misses. Spent some time playing football here in South Australia. Was a soccer player as a kid. The first time he ever saw a game of Aussie rules football was here in Adelaide at Elizabeth Oval. He was selling hot dogs in the hot dog stand as Michael O'Loughlin was playing for Central Districts.
Were you playing back then?
Just earning a spare quid now.
There you go. And now he equals his record today.
21 possessions. Long. Boak. Half back. Yes, next week will be a big game for the Swans. They're at home. They officially break the record against North Melbourne at the SCG. Boak wide. Stewart up. Big grab.
Yeah, nice grab. Mumford was in the plumb position in the front and certainly needed a big leap over the top.
Sits it up, hoping someone else will take a big grab. Malcheski, the only man who went for it.
Yeah, no one else could have taken a big grab for Port Adelaide. No one was near it.
Hit a flat spot here, Port Adelaide. Danger signs right now. Hanbury to Goods. They can smell some blood right now in the shadows of half-time. Adam Goods heads wide. Rowan on his own on 50. Open forward line. Mumford wants it. He's ignored. To the top of the square. O'Keefe down there. Surgeon got a fist on it. McGlynn hits the behind post. It'll be a ball in. In fact, did it come off a leg? Ben McGlynn's convinced he's talked them into it. Now, they can't use the video replay for this because it's not a score they're deciding. It's whether it's out of bounds on the full or the free. So they can't use the video. We can show you the replay.
I'll be just throwing it in, I would have thought, at a guess. It's off the knee.
And that's what he was saying, was just above his knee. So he's telling the truth out there, Benny McGlynn.
Back into play. Redden with the knockdown. McGlynn. Corns. Surgeon outside of the boot. Broadbent. Jack right with him, pressured the kick out on the full.
Good defensive pressures again. Sydney have really lifted that facet of the game in the last 10 minutes.
McVeigh walked inside the line. You heard the umpire. Play on now. Reed can't go up. Ball to the back. Jacobs let it get behind. McGlynn sidestep. That's bread and butter for Ben McGlynn. 23 points the margin.
Yeah, great work from the Swans. They've kicked the last 3 goals, and it's all come about because of this defensive pressure in the forward half. Their chase and tackle whenever Port Adelaide get the ball in deep defence has been fantastic. And here again, good chase from Jack on that occasion, just to force the out and the full kick and then to a dangerous position. Anything can happen here. And in the end, it was another one of their very good recycled players, and Ben McGlynn slotting a nice goal. Just to have a look here at the clearances throughout the day, 17 to 11, and most of those clearances have come from Kennedy and young Luke Parker. I mean, they've absolutely dominated the clearance situation. They'll probably get another one here.
9 or 10 between them.
White dumps it on. It's a clearance of sorts. Parker again. Sidestepped into trouble that time. Bird to White. What was a torpedo in Goods' direction? Chaplin front spot, no free. McCarthy gets away from Jack. Kick needs to be good. Ebert's on the outer side. Got it. 6 minutes to half time, and it can't come quickly enough for Port Adelaide. They trail by 23. Schultz, who's barely seen it. Tackle on Bolton to Grundy. Richards. McVeigh took it as he was taken by Wingard. Matner lends a hand.
Great work by Matner. Left his direct opponent Westhoff inside 50 to help out his teammates.
The most damning stat, boys, is definitely the Swans' last 12 inside 50s. That is 12 inside 50s to them. I guess Matty Primus would be unbelievably upset at half-time.
He would be after the start they had. Jono, you pointed out, I think it was 4-1 early in this quarter.
Kennedy got his arms free. Handed to Jack. Gets around Gray. Reid inside 50. Carlisle.
He's been good, Carlisle, in this one-on-one situation with Reid. Reid's really struggled to jump at the ball, and certainly from a forward's point of view, if you can get a free jump, you're pretty much right. But Carlisle's been able to lock him down and stop that big jump.
Chaplin heads back. McCarthy has got Westhoff. Needs to be a good kick. And it wasn't, but Westhoff made it okay. Short to Tringove. Lee Colbert, you down there?
I am indeed. As I said, that's 13 inside 50s now. That's just, they started off the quarter really well. The intent was there. Matty Primus asked for it, but the last 15 minutes, they just haven't been able to sustain it.
Gray forced to go front spot. Parker over the back with Matner. Longmire, Matthew Primus.
There's Matty Primus, just a little frustrated just as we come close to half-time. Just he'd be disappointed in the last 15 minutes of the effort.
Ball eludes a couple, but McGlynn keeps it in front. Carlisle right with him. Dives on it. He's got the assistance. Got a couple with him. Trengove, Westhoff. Slaps it down to Chaplin. Still under siege, Port Adelaide. Get out of a bind there. Surgeon, half-back flank. Big 4 minutes coming up in this game. 23 points the margin. It's getting a little dangerous for Port Adelaide right now. They can't get one late in this quarter. I certainly wouldn't want to concede another. Westhoff, strong hands.
Good mark, really difficult one. Probably was looking up into the sun as well. But a lot of pressure around him. Not the ideal pass to a forward, but he made a reasonable fist of it.
Carlisle.
They've tried to switch up a few times, just haven't been able to get the real spread through the middle. It looks like they have on this occasion.
McCarthy to Stewart. Chips to Corns, who could have gone. Could go back to Stewart. Goes further inboard. Good pass. Long bang forward from Jacobs. Off some hands. Broadbent pounces. He snapped. He had more time than that. But that's what the pressure does.
He did. He just tried to take that and get rid of it in one step. So that needed the steady, had more time. But as you said, Dwayne, the pressure builds the further you actually fall behind. And certainly the chasing pressure from the Sydney Swans has been fantastic.
Malcheski. His soulmate, David Roden, another two-time Lars ligament man. Not playing for Port this afternoon. Cassisi shoots it up. Jacobs, Hartlett, important kick this from 50 across the face. Another behind. 3 minutes to half-time. 22 points the margin. Matner. Johnson and Trengove. Trengove, good contest, but Johnson was wise to it. Collects, gives. Rowan wasn't ready for it. Paul Stewart to Cassisi. Open forward line, just needs to pick a target. Boat will do. Maybe too far out to score. Turned his back for a second.
Oh, he's got to give it.
Had to give it to Ebert, and Ebert makes the ground and takes the mark. And it's great to see an Ebert back in the Port Adelaide number 7. Uncle wore it. In fact, he's probably the greatest wearer Port Adelaide's ever had before he took over the number 1 as captain.
Did you play with him, Dwayne?
I played with him.
Yep.
Played with the two Ebert fathers now, Craig and Russell. And this is a big kick. Crowd like it. Cuts the margin back under 20 for the first time in 15 minutes.
And John, they needed that.
Yep, it's got to stay here, Lynchy, this margin. 2 minutes to go in the quarter. They can't afford, they need to get the ball going forward. They can't afford Sydney to get one late. after taking some of the ascendancy back in the last 3 minutes of play.
Still plenty of time for them just to sneak one more. They'd be happy after the way the quarters panned out. 16 points wouldn't be too bad for them, but if they could sneak one more to get that little bit closer to give them a real chance in the second half.
A good pick-up over summer, Brad Ebert.
There's been a very good pick-up, as we touched on pre-game. McCarthy's another one, and just a few of the other younger players starting to really develop. I mean, Hartlett is coming on. He looks like he'll be a star once he gets over the injuries that he struggled with in the first 2 years.
Ball slapped down in Jeddah's direction. Hasn't seen it for a while. Pounces to Parker, who's seen a lot of it. Back to Jeddah. Difficult ball to gather. Paul Stewart did well. Carlisle takes them on, hands it out to McCarthy, another of their new recruits. And he's pushed as he gets the kick. Never was a regular for Collingwood. Averaged 5 games a year in his 4 years at the Magpies. John McCarthy could well be a regular for Port Adelaide this year. 16 points the margin. 1 minute 40 to half-time. Mumford. Redden's second effort good. Corns. No Pryor. Hope you heard that at home. Chaplin. Goods with him. Experience. Chaplin keeps his feet. That's a big win with a minute left. Would have been a shot at goal there for the Swans had he not won that. Now he fumbles on cue. Boak. Caught by Goods. Broadbent.
Well done.
Gets a kick towards the wing. Malcheski takes it to the line. Wingard helps him across. Another one of their young players. One Chad departs Port Adelaide. Another one arrives to start a new career. 1 minute left on the clock. Clearance critical here. Redden down to Parker. Couldn't get the clearance. Kasisi, no Pryor. Gee, dangerous tackle. It's a big call.
Yeah, I'd love to see that one again if we have the opportunity. Here it is here. Just.
Okay. Well, if the umpire thought it was a dangerous tackle, the match review panel must look at it.
Yep.
Long to half forward. 33 seconds left. Daniel Stewart a fist on the ball. Gets it back from Gray. Kicks it inside 50. Wobbler. Paul Stewart's down there. O'Keefe gets there first. Hands it to Richards. Down to 20 seconds. Back to O'Keefe. To Malcheski. 15 seconds left and he's held up. Wouldn't think there's time enough for a Swans score now. Just time enough for a Swans turnover. Johnson. Hanbury. But we've got a contest at half-time at AAMI Stadium. Perfect conditions for this round 3 encounter. A rejuvenated Port Adelaide Football Club in 2012. They started with a win here at AAMI Stadium in round 1 against the Saints. And the Sydney Swans still undefeated, hoping to make it 3 from 3 and join Carlton at the top end of the ladder. And at half-time, it's the Sydney Swans 8-4-52 to Port Adelaide 5-6-36. The Sydney Swans kicking 3 goals in a row late in that second term, but Port Adelaide kicking the last goal of the quarter to stay in contention. As we head downstairs, Lee Coleman.
Dom, I suspect a little bit frustrated at times because the boys are turning the ball over, but the intent's there, they're trying.
Yeah, look, our turnovers have cost us a bit. Probably just need to tighten up a bit in the midfield. Probably Kennedy got away from us in that first half. So, you know, if we can start getting our centre bounce going, gives our forwards a bit more of a chance.
Yeah, he did mention that at quarter time. He was adamant about the tackle count as well. Really, that was one thing going into the game. He wanted to press and make sure you were in front of them at least at half time.
Yeah, look, it was one of our focuses. I think it was 18-3 their way at quarter time, so that's not good enough. So, need to match them in close and, like I say, give us a chance to win. 16
points, mate, still in the game.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we'll regroup now and look forward to the second half.
Good on you, buddy. Thanks.
Captain of Port Adelaide, Dominic Kasisi, with Lee Colbert. Good crowd in here. Perfect afternoon for football in South Australia. And it's the Swans at half-time by 16.